Let's go to South Bend, Indiana here for our final segment of some camp intel right now. Notre Dame, at a roster level, is at a totally different place than where they were pre-Marcus Freeman. Because when Freeman got the job, remember it was leading into that New Year's Six Bowl, and you were excited about some youth and energy, and he's going to recruit different, and he's going to make the Notre Dame brand cool again. And it's one thing for that to be said at the front end, but for it to actually have some substance behind it now going into year 4, I've been told it's a national title level roster. Now, quarterback we'll talk about here in a second, but like just the logjam that I've been told you have at different positions. Like on the offensive line, you got 5 stars on that group that are still waiting to get on the field. You're talking about freshmen like a Madden Faremo on the defensive side that's an early enrollee and looks part 110%. You're not sure how much you're going to see from him because you got Kingston Viliamuasa. Keep the pronunciation, too. I hope that was right. Kingston Viliamuasa has been balling at the linebacker spot. So just a couple examples to say the logjam you now have at different spots on the roster is a good problem to have. Because, one, you need, I think, some depth to go the distance. That's been proven now time and time again in college football, especially now in the 12-team playoff. But also just the new oxygen you're breathing with Marcus Freeman as your head coach and the work he's done is really paying dividends, and people are seeing it now that are out at fall camp. The momentum from last year, too, also has to be noted. I'm always curious when you talk to people close to these things, what's the unquantifiable part of this like? Like, what's the vibe when you walk on the grass for a practice with Notre Dame or at Oklahoma or wherever? What I've been told is there is a feeling of what happened last year and them being right there. You carry that momentum into this upcoming season. And it's not always the case when you have new pieces because it's going to be a new quarterback, it's a new DC, took different guys via the portal. But that feeling internally of we were right there on the doorstep. We're a one-score game in the fourth quarter with Ohio State. We're right there. We have what it takes. We know what it takes. We got to break through that wall, but we think we have the pieces to go do it. Now, a big part of that whole thing is going to be the quarterback, right? And it's going to be talked about here, I think, all the way up and through week 1. What I've been told is the quarterback battle is truly 50-50. Kenny Minchey has made this more of a battle, I think, than most folks even realize at the flyover level because CJ Carr looked good in the spring game. Steve Angeli transfers out. A lot of us, myself included, going in the fall camp, we're like, okay, wipe my hands of this. Cool. That's pretty much signed, sealed, delivered. CJ Carr going to be your starter. And I still personally would be maybe a touch surprised if CJ Carr wasn't your guy game 1. But what I've been told is Kenny Minchey is making a real go at this thing. And it is truly 50-50 at this point in time. The way they talk about Kenny Minchey, too, I think is interesting, folks close to Notre Dame. When you saw him during the spring game and when you saw him sparingly at different points throughout his Notre Dame career, you just think, okay, mobile guy, can hurt you on the ground, awesome, good to have that part of your offense still accessible from what Riley Leonard was to what Kenny Minchey could be. They talk about him like he's a gunslinger, dude. I talk about Kenny Minchey, he's actually pushed the ball downfield and liable to throw that thing, which I'm very, very curious to see if he does win the job, how much of that translates to him actually, accessing the potential of what that receiving core is. Because that's my thing, too. If Kenny Minchey does win the job, that to me would speak volumes as to what he truly is as a passer and what he's been behind closed doors as a passer in South Bend. Because you have so much in that receiver room, you're not playing a dude that can't run the Mike Denbrock offense, I think, going into another year in South Bend. Like you did it with Riley Leonard, and that was one thing. CJ Carr can throw the football. CJ Carr can push it downfield. So if Kenny Minchey beats him out, yeah, I got the mobile element, which I like, but he's starting at quarterback for you because he's good enough as a passer and able to run the true system, which I would be very excited about. It also should be noted, though, whether it's Minchey or whether it's Carr, there is a true level of the offense will look different relative to who your quarterback is, which to one extent you say, well, that's what good coordinators do. If I have Jaden Daniels at quarterback and I'm Mike Denbrock at LSU, I'm calling the offense different than if I have Sam Hartman at Notre Dame when he first gets there. So all that's to say, right now, the way they're going about it in this battle, they are going different days with the quarterbacks with the ones. So one day is Kenny Minchey's day with the ones. The next day it's CJ Carr's day with the ones. And the reason why that's important, to me, that says you're truly scripting your practice differently for Mike Denbrock for who your starting quarterback is that day, which you don't really do if you have guys switching every series or every period or whatever. sounds to me they're truly tailoring these offenses to the specific quarterbacks and their skill sets. CJ Carr, what I was told is, slow start to fall camp. It's over on the blueandgold.com board that he had a couple of turnovers to start practice, which you don't love, or start fall camp, I should say. I think the playmaker ability for him is something that is not talked about quite as much. I was told he's a true guy that maybe isn't like a dual threat, but he's a true playmaker. And that part of his game, they think, could also be a factor when it comes to finding an edge in this battle and ultimately winning this battle when it comes time for them to play Miami. Last thing on the quarterback battle, it's very unique in the sense that you play Miami at Miami, but then you have a full week as a bye before you play Texas A&M at home. And we'll talk more about this game a little bit later, but I make that point to say whoever starts for you against Miami may not be the guy that starts for you whenever you play A&M at the crib. Okay, so you'd like to have it settled by the first game and like to have that be a win and have everyone look good and say, okay, I made the right decision. But I'm just saying, keep a pulse on that part of this because it's still something to monitor. Now, the safeties is the position that I was told is really popping during fall camp. A lot of names. Luke Talich, Jaden Blair, the freshman. Adon Schuler is a guy that you already know about if you're a Notre Dame fan. You lost Xavier Watts, and that's leadership, that's production, that's all those things. They're not taking a step back there at all. They feel great about that position. Leadership-wise, overall, you're still waiting to see, who QB1 is going to be and all that, and that's TBD, but they feel like they have what they need from a Drake Bowen to, I just mentioned it on Schuler. On the offensive line, they've got some returning production there. They feel good about the leadership overall not being a governor on this football team, getting back to where they ultimately expect to be, even losing a Jack Kaiser and losing what I just mentioned, Xavier Watts. So at the end of the day, the feeling with Notre Dame is if you get the quarterback right, you're a national title caliber team. Full stop. Full stop. Now, that's a very big if. It's a very, very big if. And I think the question I would ask after that question gets answered is, okay, well, who you have at quarterback, how far away can they be from great at times to where the rest of this roster can pick up the slack and push you to a spot to where you can still win games where your quarterback has an off day. At some point in time, every team has to win a game where they don't have their A game, especially at quarterback. How good is Notre Dame around their quarterback in specific spots to get that done? But so far out of fall camp, they feel great about the rest of the roster, and the quarterback battle is still ongoing.